welcome back to Talking with an Addict. My name is Katie. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's video is going to be about Purdue Pharma, as you can tell by the title. Now, these are a company that are based in the US and they started out in New York, and they are a manufacturer of painkillers and other various different tablets and medications. I actually filmed this video yesterday, but my camera decided to not capture the intro, so what you will see is what was recorded yesterday. And yeah, I've tried to basically compile all the evidence down, shorten it down, give you a brief overview of it. If you would like me to go into more detail about Purdue Pharma, I will do an additional video because there is so much going on. Even now, the company's been going for years and years and years, and there is still problems and issues going on now. So yeah, please make sure to like and subscribe, click the little notification bell, and let's get into it. So it was founded by John Purdue Gray and George Frederick Bingham. Now, these gentlemen were doctors. They were very highly intelligent, intellectual men. The original company was called the Purdue Frederick Company, obviously taking both of their names and putting it into one. They were both doctors, highly respected, highly thought about, the upper class, and they just created their own company. Their initial product that they actually sold was things like earwax reducers and laxatives. So if we jump forward to 1952, the company was sold on and bought by the Slacker brothers. Now, these were two young brothers, Ray and Mortimer Slacker, and they got the business, had big impressive ideas for this company and where it was going and what direction they wanted to put it in, and they started to open multiple businesses and places around the United States for Purdue Pharma. Purdue Pharma, as it is now known today, was actually incorporated in 1991, and they had this main aim of creating painkillers. And this is basically where the story starts, and it's mind-blowing. So they were very big on pain management. In a way, their intentions were good. They wanted to help people, they wanted to get people out of pain. So just reading from my notes, Purdue Pharma branded itself the pioneer in developing medications for reducing pain, a principal cause of human suffering. In 1972, Contin was produced. It was meant to be a controlled drug. It was meant to be the next wonder drug that would lead to all these other amazing painkillers being produced, if only they knew the side effect they were about to have on the world. Over the years to 1996, hydromorphine, oxycodone, fentanyl, codeine and hydrocodone was produced by Purdue Pharma. In 1995, they created a drug called OxyContin, and moving forward I will just refer to it as Oxy in this video because it's probably one of the main things in this video. Now, Oxy can be heard in songs, in films, in TV shows in America. OxyContin's not necessarily something we get in the UK, but I know it is very widespread in the United States. And OxyContin was produced. It was better known as a wonder drug. These people that produced Oxy had basically said, this is going to change people's world, this is going to make people so much healthier and better, and it's going to change their life. But they didn't realise in what way it was actually going to change their life. And when they did produce this wonder drug, they would set up seminars and lunches and meetings, and they'd advise doctors and nurses and people high up in the medical profession to come to these seminars, to sit back and take away little goodie bags with this oxy to try and to experience how good this tablet that you took once every 12 hours, this slow pain release tablet, was for you. They basically shoved it down the necks of medical professionals to give to their patients. Smooth and sustained pain control all day and all night was basically their marketing slogan. That's what they said. And shortly before long, the sales of Oxy reached an all-time high because people believed it was a wonder drug. People were like, oh my god, this works. I can take one of these tablets and be out of pain for 12 hours. This is amazing. So they just went to the doctors and just kept getting bottles and bottles and bottles of Oxy. It's been reported that between 1995 and 2001 there has been $2.8 billion in revenue from Oxy for Purdue Pharma. So that is how much money they made from this tablet. And maybe their marketing strategy worked, maybe what they were doing worked and it proved well, but there was more going on behind the scenes than they realised. They were just creating this wonder drug and thinking, oh yeah, it's great, people are loving it, people are taking it every single day, not realising that this was actually starting to cause an epidemic in America. Like myself, when you take painkillers for a long period of time, you soon realise that your tolerance builds up very, very quickly, and this was the same for a lot of people taking Oxy. They realised that one tablet every 12 hours wasn't really doing it for them, and if they chewed it, it got into their system quicker, so they'd get that 12-hour dose in one go. They used to break it down, grind it up, snort it, or they'd put multiple tablets in all at the same time. I've done this myself with my co-codamol. I used to take 3 at a time, and sometimes 4. These people knew that this tablet contained so much pain relief in one pill that they could get it all in one go by chewing it, snorting it, anything they could do with it. People even used to water it down and inject it into them. Now that to me is just horrific. If they can find a drug like that does that to them and they know how to do things with it to get it into your system quicker, hopefully people realise when they did take it that okay, this is a very, very strong drug and I'll stop. But there were millions of people that loved this feeling and they needed it and they wanted it quicker. So to them, grinding up an Oxy and putting it under the tongue or snorting it was actually nothing. It was just they needed the pain relief, they needed that fix, they needed that high, because people have even reported to say that they got hooked from the first hit of this drug. Purdue then did get notified that there was an epidemic happening and a lot of it was on their hands, and it was because of Oxy, and they got notified but nothing seemed to really happen. They didn't do a lot about it. They didn't really say, right, we're going to reduce sales or reduce production and speak to doctors and chemists and pharmacies and hospitals and make sure it's only given for different scenarios. And they didn't put any guidelines down or restrictions down. They just sort of carried on as they had been doing for years and years. Pills started to get stolen from chemists. There were people that were forging prescriptions, and there were people going to the doctor saying, I've got this pain, I've got that pain, getting a script, going to the chemist, getting the Oxy and going outside and selling it to people, because they were making a fortune from selling Oxy, because there were so many people addicted to it and who needed it and who craved it that weren't allowed to get it from their doctors anymore, because the doctors could clearly visibly see that these people had become dependent on Oxy, that these addicts were going elsewhere. They would say to family members, oh, will you go get some Oxy and I'll buy it off you $300-400. And that is just ridiculous. That blows my mind that people would willingly go get these drugs, lie to their doctors for these drugs, not even for personal use, but to go outside the doctors and sell it to other people, funding their addictions. In 2000, reports of abuse started flooding in, and I mean flooding. There was hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of people addicted to Oxy and to the products that Purdue were producing. And they did a survey and they announced that hydrocodone and Oxy were the most abused drugs in America at that one time. I'm going to read from this piece of paper next because this is a lot of information for you to take in. In 2012, a report was done by the New England Journal of Medicine, and they published this and announced that 76% of recovering heroin addicts had started to abuse pharmaceutical narcotics. So a lot of the products that they were taking during their recovery or withdrawal from heroin abuse were Purdue's products. So they were getting Oxy or hydrocodone or hydromorphine and taking them drugs because they were getting the same side effect from them drugs as they were the heroin previously. Now, not that it's known to a lot of people, because it's not, but I have said this in a previous video, that heroin is in a lot of painkillers basically. So an opiate contains heroin. No, it's not the same amount of heroin you'd get if you were to directly inject it into your body, but heroin stems from the poppy seed. The poppy seed is an opiate. Opiates are painkillers. It's like a big circle that goes round and round. Yeah, so they were trying to get that high, and they found they could reach that high and get what they needed by taking Purdue's products. In 2013, I found out that the FDA and the FBI were actually investigating Purdue and the way that they marketed, and obviously these big massive seminars and everything that had happened, and they found that because of the way that they marketed these products and the way that they were telling doctors to give these to your patients, they're really good, you know, they're really going to help them, they were the main factor in the opioid epidemic across America. And they still continue to produce these drugs, and that is mind-blowing. Why did they not just get shut down and told to stop production? But they didn't, and they kept going, and more and more and more and more people got addicted. So as I've said, I've got a lot of notes on this, so I will be referring to my notes for the last part of this video. In 2016, the Los Angeles Times did an investigation, and it actually came back that the 12-hour schedule that people were advised to take OxyContin was not really helping, because by the time you'd taken the tablets and you'd had the dose of the painkiller, your body started to go into withdrawal because it needed more, and that's why people were taking it more frequently than once every 12 hours. And the journalist suggested that this problem gives new insight into why so many people became addicts. And I do believe that. I do believe that if you take one tablet, it can't necessarily last 12 hours. It's a long time to last is 12 hours on one tablet. And that may be why people did get addicted, because they had the tablet, they got the dose, 6 hours later it had run out, they needed another tablet, and that's how the cycle goes, and that's how it happened. So in 2018, Purdue actually produced a new drug, and that was meant to control cravings, and they used it to treat addictions to opiates and oxy as well. But obviously oxy is an opiate, so they can't really say they're doing it for 2 drugs when they've only done it for the ones that they produced. But yeah, I don't really think that people found any good results on taking that drug that they produced, but they tried to redeem themselves, and it didn't end very good for Purdue Pharma. So I'm just going to give you some facts now about what's been happening with Purdue over the last couple of years. So it's reported in January of 2017, the city of Everett in Washington sued Purdue based on increased costs for the city from the use of oxy, as well as Purdue not intervening when they noted how many people were getting addicted. They didn't do anything about it, so they actually sued Purdue and said, look, you've known about this, you've known there were a problem, you've done nothing about it, and now we are having to serve and look after our community, which we will obviously do, but that comes at a cost, and the reason we are doing that is because of you, therefore we are suing you for this. This one really gets to me a bit. It says the black market sale of the drug out of the legal pharmacies based in Los Angeles with distribution points in Everett is also part of the experience of the city. No intervention was made by Purdue to contact the DEA for years, despite knowing of the practice and the overuse of sale of their products. This suit is asking for a yet to be determined reimbursement related to costs of policing, housing, healthcare, rehabilitation, criminal justice system, park and recreation department, as well as its loss of life or compromised quality of life to the citizens of Everett directly. Now that's just one place, that's just one place in America. There are literally hundreds of places in America that were affected by this. So basically they said Purdue knew they were doing wrong. Purdue knew that they were selling this drug that were literally killing people, and they did nothing about it. They did nothing. So in March of 2019, Purdue Pharma reached a $270 million settlement in a lawsuit. It was filed by Oklahoma, which claimed its opioid contributed to the deaths of thousands of people. As I said, another place, Oklahoma, lost thousands of people, and Purdue did nothing about it. Purdue never stopped production of these horrific, horrendous drugs. In August 2019, Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family were in negotiations to settle the claims for a payment of $10 to $12 billion. So the Sackler family are meant to be one of the richest families in America, basically getting all the money from painkillers. But it says the Sackler family would contribute $3 million in cash. The family would also sell Mundy Pharma and contribute another $1.5 billion from the sales proceeds to settlement. However, the Sackler family would remain a billionaire family and would not be criminally charged for contributing to the opioid crisis. On September of 2019, the Office of the New York Attorney General accused the Sackler family of hiding money by wiring at least $1 billion from the company accounts to personal accounts overseas. Now, if that doesn't scream dodgy, manipulative, hiding, horrible people, I don't know what does. One of the best things I read about this whole story: Purdue Pharma filed for bankruptcy in September of 2019. In mid-September 2019, Purdue filed for bankruptcy in New York a few days after reaching a tentative settlement with state and local governments that were suing the company over the cost of the opioid epidemic. Now, some states did not want to go ahead with this because they didn't think that any amount of money they were going to get was going to actually cover the damage that Purdue had done, and I do believe that some people are still trying to pursue further money. Some people that were victims of a family member dying, or they were addicts themselves, and doctors, and there's so many people and so much in the media that's not being released about Purdue Pharma, but I do know there is massive lawsuits going on at this minute in time. So, like any person who's writing stuff down or investigating or doing research, I went onto Purdue's website and this is what I found. So at first there is a bit of a disclaimer, as you can see on the screen. Basically tells you what's been going on. So one sort of thing that did surprise me is when you go on Purdue's website, you can actually go to a list of products that they currently are producing, and Oxy is still there. So I wanted you to see that directly under the OxyContin logo, it says important safety information, warning, addiction, abuse and misuse, threatening respiratory depression, accidental ingestion, natal opioid withdrawal syndrome, and words that I can't even pronounce. Now, that screams to me, don't ever buy this product. So it says addiction, abuse and misuse. OxyContin exposes patients and other users to the risks of opioid addiction, abuse and misuse, which can lead to overdose and death. Assess each patient's risk prior to prescribing OxyContin and monitor all patients regularly for the development of these behaviours and conditions. So basically they're saying, we'll produce it but we'll take no responsibility for these people because it's in your hands now, even though they're the manufacturers and they created the drug. So then there's another header that says life-threatening respiratory depression. Serious life-threatening or fatal respiratory depression can occur with the use of OxyContin. Monitor for respiratory depression, especially during initiation of Oxy or following a dose increase. Oh my god, they just talk crap. Accidental ingestion. Accidental ingestion of even one dose of OxyContin, especially by children, can result in a fatal overdose of oxycodone. This shit really winds me up. prolonged use of OxyContin during pregnancy can result in which is not just during pregnancy. Anyway, can result in neonatal opioid withdrawal syndrome, which may be life-threatening if not recognised and treated, and requires management according to protocols developed by neonatal experts. But then, right at the bottom of this page, it says laxatives. In 1955, Purdue introduced the first Senecot brand laxative. Today, Avirigo Health is a leader in consumer health medications to treat occasional constipation. You should have stuck to that in the first place. Antiseptics. For more than 50 years, betadine has been used at home and in hospitals worldwide as an important defence against topical infections. See, what I don't understand is the products that they produced were absolutely amazing. They were outstanding. They were doing so good, and obviously laxatives and stuff, people need them every single day, but the non-harmful products, these are things that aren't going to kill you, and yet they mass produce these products that will kill you. That is all I've got time for today. I've dived into this lightly. I'm pretty sure I could find more about Purdue Pharma, but being completely honest with you, it really frustrates me reading about it and the lack of care and attention they had to the consumers and the people out there that they were trying to ram this drug down their throat to sell for them, to earn them billions of revenue. Please make sure to like and subscribe and leave me a little comment down below. Let me know if you know any other facts about Purdue Pharma. I could potentially possibly do a second part to this video because I know there are current things going on in the news with Purdue. So yeah, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on the little notification bell. My name is Katie Lou, and always remember to tell yourself and the ones that you love that actually I can.